All right, our next speaker is Joe Koppeis, president of Admiral Parkway, Inc. He's a member of the Monroe Economic County Development Council, and he's going to be presenting information on the Rock City Complex in Valmeyer.
First of all, thanks for coming. For those of you that don't know, Monroe County is a great place to live. I worked for a food wholesaler for a number of years and moved around to a lot of different cities, and this really is a unique and wonderful area. Rock City is an abandoned limestone quarry that's located in Valmeyer, Illinois. We have about 5.5 million square feet of space in the underground to develop. Our ceiling heights and some of the other issues we'll go into in just a second. But the drive time to Rock City is about 15 minutes from the JB Bridge. So one of the biggest issues I've had, the federal government is leasing about 500,000 square feet from us for the National Archives. And those people thought it was really far away because they were driving through cornfields all the way to Rock City. But when they actually drive it and they measure their time, they love it, and it's worked out really well. We say Rock City is a rock-solid development. We have several hundred feet of rock above us. This isn't moving. Okay. Not too fast. That's an outline of the underground. Again, there's a little over 6 million square feet there. The net amount is about 5 million square feet when you take the columns out. So we have lots of room to go. We have built city streets in the underground, and anything you can do above ground, we can do in Rock City. We have some areas that have 45-foot ceiling heights. Our average ceiling height is 28 feet. It's very easy to rack. We have a 200,000 square foot refrigerated warehouse in here that takes temperatures down to minus 37. We'll go over that a little later, but it kind of gives you a feel for the size when you see the people on the photographs. The entire underground is a tax increment financing district. There are about 18 years left on that district. The infrastructure will be expanded based on the revenues that are generated from that TIF, and there are also incentives that we can offer to occupants. We spent about $50 million so far on the hole in the ground, as my wife lovingly refers to it. And it's taken us some time to get it going. It's been a challenge, but it's coming together really well. One of the keys are the 100 openings that are on the exterior of the property. We get natural ventilation through the entire underground. Many of the undergrounds in Kansas City is probably the most well-known area. They have to pump fresh air in and circulate air continuously. Because of the way the miners mined this, they needed fresh air while they were mining. They cut some huge openings in the side of the bluff. And when the refrigerated trucks back up to the frozen docks, they can leave their engines running, their reefers can continue running, and there is no problem with the air quality. We get natural ventilation. Again, you probably can't make it out very well, but right in here, these dark spots are actually some of the openings that are in the bluff, and that's our natural ventilation. The road construction has begun. We have trailer parking in the front, and then the roads, city streets go right through the underground. The water system is looped. We have a sprinkler system in the National Archives. Utilities are run in underground now, and again, it'll be just like anything you do above ground, only you have a roof, you have a foundation, you have a floor, we're earthquake proof, and construction cost was about a third of what it is above ground. The 58 degrees year-round is the normal temperature in the underground. When we build out spaces, the National Archives space, for example, those rooms are staying about 60 degrees once they fill them with 2.5 million boxes of records and the lighting and the shelving and so on. So we don't get hardly any variation from that. So it makes a warehouse a much more pleasant place to work because you don't have the 100-degree weather in the summer and the 0-degree weather in the winter. Energy savings are pretty obvious, I guess, but for the refrigerated warehouse, the utility cost is about 50% of what it is above ground. And again, we don't have the sun beating down on it because there's several hundred feet of rock above you. The location is great, and we just completed a deal with Blue Line, which is a parent company of Little Caesars. They're taking trucks out about 300 miles from Valmar and delivering to all the Little Caesars restaurants. The transportation access is just as good as anything you have in the St. Louis area, with the exception of that 11 miles of cornfields that you drive through. That road has been upgraded and is in great shape. Low construction cost, low property taxes. The village of Valmar actually owns the Rock City complex. They bought it when they built the new town, and I have a development agreement with them, and they get a royalty on what we do. So it's a great income stream for the village of Valmar, and it's worked out well for me as well. The property taxes, we sit down and come up with the value of the build-out, and that's what we base the taxes on. So it's worked out really well with the assessor, and it again reduces your taxes by at least 50%. No equipment taxes. In St. Louis, they have a lot of different equipment taxes, personal property taxes, and those don't exist in Illinois. Practically no CAM charges. We have in the front a flagpole and a few bushes. Everything else is village property or the property of the tenant. So, and I've been known to pull the weeds myself, and I don't get paid much. So it's extremely low, lower than anything you can find anywhere. It's a safe environment. Into engineering, we've had engineers in there mapping all the columns, measuring all the columns, and they've concluded that in the event of an earthquake, that Rock City is one of the safest places in the Midwest to be. The earth on top may move, but the rock itself is not going to move, and it will remain a very safe location. For the refrigerated storage, if you lose temperature or you lose power in the underground, we can hold minus 10 degrees for probably about 30 days without losing any temperature. All the rock columns, and some of them are half the size of this room, freeze solid. So it's just like having huge ice cubes in that room. So it's very safe from that perspective as well. It's well above the floodplain, and you don't have to worry about tornadoes or any other issues. These are just some pictures of the docks. The lower one is the refrigerated dock area. We cut the rock out to make the docks level, and it works very well. Little Caesars, we talked about a little bit, and again, they had an attorney out of New York, an attorney out of Chicago, a real estate consultant out of Virginia, and then the people in Michigan that run Blue Line. So they weren't the easiest people to work with, but they are extremely happy, and they are already asking for a right of first refusal for adjoining space. Again, I think everyone kind of knows what Little Caesars is. The National Archives and Records Administration put out a request for proposals a few years ago, and we responded to that request to build record storage space for them. We competed against about 30 other developers, some of them from all over the country. Many of them did work for the National Archives and already leased to them, but we were fortunate to get the award for the first phase, which was about 400,000 square feet. We've since done a 75,000 square foot addition, and it's worked out really well. These are just some other pictures of the National Archives space. You can see all the shelves, and they actually put 6 banker boxes on each shelf. So it's kind of amazing to see. And when you look from the front to the back, it's over a half mile, and all you see are rows and rows and rows of boxes. One of the other issues we have with the National Archives is we have to meet all their fire requirements, which are very stringent, fresh air requirements. We had to do lots and lots of studies and lots of tests. Every year we do air quality tests, and it's worked out really well. The addition, we convinced them to go 20 high instead of 15 high. And a lot of people said I was crazy because we're leasing them less space. But our goal is to get their cost per cubic foot of storage to as low as number as possible, so when their leases expire throughout the country, hopefully they'll want to move product to Valmar. Cold storage currently employs a little over 60 employees. Some of the customers there are Anheuser-Busch InBev. We store hops for them. Every Tombstone or Kraft Nestle pizza that's in the Midwest comes out of Valmar. Every half gallon of Edie's ice cream that's delivered in the Midwest comes out of Valmar. The freezer operation actually picks the orders per grocery store. So when the drivers pick them up, they throw them on their trucks and then they go straight to the stores. We currently have Walmart's turkeys and pies in there for the Thanksgiving season, and they will obviously be going out shortly, and when they go out, we'll start gearing up for outside storage of ice cream. So it's kind of a trick to get the right mix of customers who comes in when, but it's worked out really well. It's the most unique underground development, and the reason for that is we don't have water issues. Some underground facilities have leaking that comes through the ground, which is not their fault, it's just the way God made it. We didn't do anything special, we just got lucky. So there's no water that drips through the ceiling, which makes it a much better environment. We have an underground lake in Rock City. It's about 15 acres. We pumped water out of it for almost a year. I was praying that it was spring fed and we could bottle it and sell it. Unfortunately, it's not. It's just groundwater that runs in. We've stopped pumping it out because if a call center wants to go in, a computer center wants to go in, we can offer pretty much free cooling by taking that 58-degree water and circulating it through, just like a power plant would do, only on a much smaller basis. We have lots of space left to develop, and you all will officially be cavemen when you leave here today. There are t-shirts for the men and the women, so we'd like you to take one of those with you. We also are giving you a little piece of Rock City. These are rocks, and you'll notice they are tied shut. Laurie was smart and did that so that no one would throw the rocks at me while we're still in the presentation. So I thank you for your time, and we look forward to hearing from you.